Hi, everyone. This is Tia Bottom with Time Marker Photography and Legacy Living with Tia. Every week, I do an interview with an amazing woman that will air in my Empowering Time Markers Facebook group and on YouTube. This week, I have Melissa. She is a freedom lifestyle coach. She is amazing. She's one of my PDP sisters. I am so glad to connect with you. You are such a light to me. So, welcome. Thank you for being with me. How are
Thank
you?
you. I was here.
So,
Fabulous.
tell me a little bit about your business and who you are.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me and inviting me to talk today. I'm really excited just to share a little bit. So I am a freedom lifestyle coach. To me, what that means is being a woman. A lot of the time, there's a lot of things that hold us up. One of them being our mind. So I like to help women with freedom of their mind. So looking at mindset, what things are holding us back, self-talk, money mindset, whatever that is. I also like to look at freedom of your body because so often we are so harsh on ourselves with our looks, how we're feeling, our size. And I really like to give women that freedom in how do you want to feel in your body? And then freedom of financial, right? We're here to make money, and whether that is for ourselves or to be able to give it away and contribute into the world. So it's also giving that permission to have that freedom financially. So that is a little bit about what a freedom lifestyle coach is. And my business is I have two parts kind of to my same business. One is actually the product of, having clean living label. Really, that freedom lifestyle coach to me is that freedom of having clean around my home. So that's things that I'm putting on my body, in my body, things that I'm using to wash my laundry, wash my hands with, but then also being able to have a standalone product, which is our liquid collagen that really helps women feel. And I said this in one of our meetings, feel and lubricate from the inside out. So that's like the product aspect. But then the business aspect is really teaching people how to monetize their social media and make money from their phone. So that's a little
Awesome.
bit about me.
Yes. So I know that you said that you have lived out of country. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, funny about that. When I was a little girl, I always knew that I wanted to be a teacher. Really, what that stemmed from is I wanted to help people. Now that I look back on it, helping people to me back then meant being a teacher, a doctor, or a nurse. I do not like blood, so it was the teacher route that I took. And my sophomore year in college, I really feel like I gave my parents an ultimatum. I said I was either going to take a semester off from college and travel around the country with one of my girlfriends, or I was going to do a semester abroad. And so, University of Delaware, the only place that they offered was Edinburgh. And I honestly, at the time, I thought I was going to Paris. I was like, where's Edinburgh? I don't even know where is this place. But I wanted to escape and go see a little bit more of the world. And so I lived in Scotland my sophomore year. It was amazing. There was 9 girls. We went and lived in Edinburgh on campus, on a college campus. We traveled, we had 3 weeks for a spring break. So we traveled all around. And then I went back actually and worked and lived there for 6 months with another one of my girlfriends in 1999. And we taught primary school.
Um, that's an amazing experience. What is the main thing that sticks out to you about living over there?
Yeah. Well, first of all, how old it is. Like, we think living in America, oh my gosh, like this is so old, or something's from the 1800s. And then you go and there's like a castle in the middle of a city. So that was one of the big things that stood out. You have like these cobblestone roads, and then there's these castles and these moats and the history. Like, I was never into history. I was like a science and math girl. So history to me, it wasn't exciting. But then once I actually was living in history and hearing the stories and the passion behind my professors, the way that he would talk about it, and we would go visit Loch Ness and we'd go to all these really cool places. Like, it just, history came to life to me. And that was the thing that was truly the most memorable. was the history aspect, and just how cool, like all these battles that you hear about, like we would actually go to where the battle took place. So that was pretty cool.
That is amazing. And, when you were talking, I was thinking that is an amazing experience too, as a teacher, getting that insight of your own self learning and what made it exciting. So that's awesome. Um,
Yeah.
I also know that you're kind of a badass. So tell me something that would surprise the people.
Okay, well, so one of the things was I jumped out of an airplane. So I skydived at 40. I was like, what's one thing that I want to do that I thought I would be super scared to do? So I was skydiving. But the other thing that I think people are super surprised about is that I used to do roller derby. So I used to be a roller derby girl. And the funny thing is about the roller skating is I went to my nephew's birthday party, his 11th birthday party, and we went to the skating rink. And I forgot how much I love to skate. But we were doing the limbo like underneath on the skates and skating around, and I was trying to skate backward, and I forgot how much I love to play, right? We forget like those childhood experiences. And I was like, I really love to skate. And so, and you know how the universe works, I believe in the universe and the powers. And like the next day I was at Starbucks and saw a sign for tryouts for roller derby girl, come check us out, see what you think. And I went, and I fell in love with everything, the team aspect, the women that were on that. Like it is truly a sport for all women. It doesn't matter if you were ever an athlete before. It was really just such a great gift. I love obviously supporting women and being around women, but that team aspect, and giving my mom a heart attack, I think, every time I skated, because she was like, you're going to get hurt. You're going to get injured. You're so small. They're going to crush you. Um, was really fun.
Did
And
you
my name, should I tell you my name?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Should I tell you my name, what my name
Yeah.
was? Okay. So it was my name. You always try to come up with a fun name that like represents your life. So it's basically like a team sport coming up with your name. But mine was Glitz and Slammer, because I used to be in the jewelry business. So I loved things that were glittery and sparkly. And then of course you have to have like some kind of slam or something in there. So Glitz and Slammer was my name.
Awesome. I love that. Um, did you ever injure yourself or get injured?
I'm not like on my table right now. I never did, but I had two girls that were on my team that I skated with like in the same bout, and like broke ankles, like bones came out. Yeah, broken noses, like other people like broke their noses. Like I definitely had bruises, for sure, from the crazy hip checks that we would get, and like when I would fall. But they really teach you so much, like how to fall and how to do all these things properly before you can actually skate, that, I mean, yeah, it happens, but you're trained on ways to kind of prevent yourself from getting injured. So I was really lucky.
I mean, that is very cool because I don't know anything about that like realm. So that's really
Yeah.
cool. I'm glad that you did that so you can enlighten me.
It
So
was fun. And like
go ahead.
I was just gonna say it was just really fun, and it was such a great experience, because it was a courageous thing for me to do, because I was a school teacher, have young kids, like work full time, had a business, and so being able to find the time for myself, first of all, to do something that I wanted to do that was important to me, but then doing a sport that a risk of injury, risk of failure, was really huge. Not even making the team, so it was just another time to really bet on myself and just give it a shot and just see what happens.
I mean,
So
you are the definition of courageous to me, for sure, in so many different aspects. You mentioned you had kids. Tell me a little bit about that mom life.
yeah, so I have an 11-year-old, so all boys, 11-year-old who's in the 6th grade, Nicholas, and then I have a 14-year-old Jackson, he's in 8th grade, and then I do have a bonus son, Slater, and he is 28. So me and all my boys.
I love that. They're probably very protective of you. So that's
I don't
cool.
know about that.
Probably not. You're
Um,
probably protective of them.
Yeah, I mean, they're fun. They're super busy, lots of sports. Fortunately they do travel baseball. So we're still able to do that and play a little bit of basketball. So, yeah.
Yeah, you sound very busy. And on top of all of that, you had mentioned that you have a restaurant as well. Tell me what kind of food it is and what that life is like balancing between all of the things you do.
Yeah. So, I always like to say that is my husband's passion, having a restaurant, not mine. I did work in the restaurant industry for over 10 years as a hostess, waitress, all those things, like the front of the house. So I never was in the back of the house. But it was always his lifelong dream. I mean, he worked at a bunch of different places before we had even met, as a executive chef and, lots of different clubhouses, and he wanted something that was small, something that he could touch every single plate, something that had great customer service and really was an experience for people. So yeah, so our restaurant's called Po' Boys. It's a Cajun and Creole restaurant. So today we're actually, well, yeah. So it's amazing. So yeah, so it's just fun. We had never even been to New Orleans, but just it's soul food, and my husband loves to cook, and you can tell when you taste his food that it's amazing. So he works all the time. Fortunately, we're closed 2 days a week, so we actually do get to see each other. But I don't work in the restaurant. I say if we work together, we would probably be divorced. We both agree on that. But I do all like the behind the scenes stuff, to keep it up and running. So
Uh,
yeah,
So that makes you a good team, really. And knowing
yeah,
you have boundaries to do that. So,
yeah.
yeah,
Well, we're really good about that because when I used to be a school teacher as well, and so when I stayed home, like we always really communicated well on that, on like whatever our dreams were and our goals, like really working like this is what I'm going to need if I'm staying at home, like this is my role and this is what I'm going to be doing, this is what you need to be doing, or can we work on these things together? And so, we are really a good team in that way because that communication is key, because super important. And then especially after you have kids and then multiple businesses, time can get away from you.
absolutely. What would you say is the most inspiring or pivotal moment for you to do freedom lifestyle coaching?
Yeah. Um, for me, I think being a teacher was one of the big things. So I was a school teacher when I was pregnant with my 14-year-old. I wanted to stay at home. People thought that I was absolutely crazy. Growing up, it was always you go to college, you get a degree, you work that job, however many hours a week, however many years, and then you retire. That was like the dream, right?
Right.
And so for me, when I first left teaching and decided that I needed to be home with my kids, people thought that I was crazy. You're leaving your job, your pension, your steady income to be able to stay at home with your kids, which to me sounds crazy, right? Like, don't people want to be home with their kids? But I know it's so different for so many people, or so many people don't think that it's possible because we're so trained to do it this one way. And so I feel like that was one of the biggest pivotal moments for me, was when I decided, my husband, it was like, this is what we want to do. We're going to figure out a way. We can sell our fancy car. We don't need that car. It's really about being resourceful and finding what works for you and your family to make it happen. So that was, I think, the first one for me of being able to make the decision to find a way to earn money from home. So I was still earning money, but I was able to work that around me being at home with my kids. That was part of that freedom where I was like, wow, this is, more people need to know about this. More people know that there's options. More people need to know that there's lots of different ways where you don't have to be unhappy at your job or wherever you are. It could be a marriage, it could be a relationship. That there are options and we do have choices, and it's having the willingness and the courage to make those choices. That's what I want people to know, that there are those options so that you don't have to feel stuck, because we get one life, right? And we want to be happy, and not regret decisions that we are making for our future.
Absolutely. Which leads me into, I know this is filmed before, but today you are going live in the group at 1 o'clock about. And you're going to be talking about like your authentic self and doing all those things. So it leads into inspiring others
Yeah.
to have courage to do all the things that you want to do, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's really all about that because I think too, I think when you're younger and I don't know, I don't think it's just me, but you have these dreams of what your life's going to look like, and you're going to meet your spouse, and then you're going to have kids. Like for me, it was like the kids and the white picket fence, and you're like picking out what your life is going to look like. And then when it maybe doesn't look that way, then you think, oh, well, this is just the way that it's got to be. But really, there's always, I personally don't believe in balance. I don't think you can have a perfect balance of life, marriage, relation. Like, I don't think that you can have that balance because there's always going to be like, the balance beam where something's higher, something's lower, you're giving more time here, less time here, but there's a constant flow, right? So we can have that flow in and out of the things that we find value in our life. And it's just knowing who you are and what is valuable for you, because what Tia you think is valuable might not be valuable for me and my family, and that's okay. And it's knowing that that's okay. I don't have to do what you're doing because that doesn't fit for me. And so it's just letting women have that permission to be themselves and know that like we need every single woman to be themselves in this world, and we're all each a gift.
Yeah, for sure. And to speak on your balance, because I did balance month, and really what my purpose was is to teach that knowing when something needs to be more important than the other.
Mhm.
That to me is balance, knowing, right?
Yeah.
And I
Well,
think
and I oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
sorry, I cut you. Um, well, as a mom, you know firsthand of like a dirty diaper outweighs like doing this over here. So you have to be flexible, and balance to me is about being flexible and
Yeah.
not having everything perfectly symmetrically equal, because life isn't like that. So yes, I totally 100% agree with you. Um,
Aw.
did you have something else to say? I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I mean, we could have this conversation going for 3
No,
hours, but,
no, I thought that I
no.
cut you off. I thought you had a point. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say the same thing. It's just I think, and especially now, and if you are a parent and you do have kids that are home, I think releasing some of the control and knowing that not everything is always gonna go the way that you want, that you planned it out, like 8 o'clock, I'm doing this, 9 o'clock, I'm doing this, because there's things that really are out of our control. And so if we just focus on, making sure we're getting up in the morning and doing something for ourselves so that we feel like, okay, like I feel good, whether that's getting up and having a cup of coffee, like doing a quick meditation, like things to really center yourself and knowing like this is how I want my day to go, but knowing it's going to be okay if I have to take a detour over here and take 10 minutes to help a child with Wi-Fi or whatever. I can come right back, and just know that like you have to be flexible nowadays because it's never going to be the way that you think it's going to be, and that's okay too.
Yes. You just, I have to say this because it just like triggered me to think of something. So I do Sunday, like self-care Sundays. So every week I give something that people can do that'll help think of themselves and have a better life. And one of those things is to think about like, it's not okay. So women think it's selfish to pick themselves first, right? But to me, what if you think of it as wouldn't your children have a better, or the people around you have a better experience in life if you were happy and calm, bringing that to the table instead of like, right? I say it much better in writing than I just did then, but like,
Well, that's beautiful. It is because, we think that self-care is selfish, and it's not at all. Like I always say like you have to put yourself on top of your tree, like Valentine or your list, like Valentine's Day. It's like, make sure you're doing something for yourself. Like you have to love yourself first before you can love others. So like go buy yourself a Valentine's Day card, like get yourself some flowers. Like we have to love ourselves and show ourselves love before we can give all of our love to others. So I love
absolutely.
that.
So thank you so much for doing this with me and visiting with me. I cannot wait for your live later today. And Thank you so much. I'll have your links down below in the description. And do you have anything else coming up that you want the people to know? No?
Not really.
Okay.
I don't have anything exciting, like any event. I don't have any crazy events or anything like that coming up. No, I just appreciate you and you know, and creating this space for women. I think it's fabulous, and I think it's needed.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I wish I could hug you.
Virtual hug.
Yeah. Uh, Thank you so much. I look forward to your live.
Thanks. Yeah.